growing up in rural Jamaica, where you have to tend to everything. You feel the animals, riding the donkey, doing all the agricultural stuff. I did about everything. I grew up in a house where we have to share with so many children and family members. I had to help my sister to school, I have to help my brother. So you become aware of giving. Of course, my mother was my rock because my father died in 1945 and I was born in 1943. Somewhere along the line, God sent an angel called Edward Mitchell, because by then my mother had 8 children. It's only an angel could take a woman with 8 children and marry her. My mother was a higgler, and she buy and sell in the market, and I used to have to go to the market with her every Saturday. And so my mother taught me from early days in terms of supply and demand. She taught me to focus, and she taught me to buy and sell properly. I left the country in 1961, came to Kingston looking for a job. And the first job I landed was at the government post office. Colgate was one of the addresses that I used to prepare their letters and deliver sometimes. And it's not a property that we now own. I left the post office and went on to the Michael Teachers College, which is now the Michael University College. Taught in Buffby Primary School and came back to Clarendon to work with Child Care Division. And then in 1971, I landed the job at H.D. Upwood and Company. Cari-Med, which is 28 years old this year, came out of the whole idea of my entrance into the pharmaceutical industry in 1971. I recognized a demand for generic drugs that were not being filled.
In the early days, Glen brought in drugs that all Jamaicans could afford.
From the very start, it was clear that Mr. Christian wanted to establish a world-class company.
I always support my husband, even when the ideas sound far-fetched, but far-fetched as they may, they always come to fruition.
One thing I really admire about my father is that whatever goals he sets, he never stops until he achieves them.
I have been the credit manager since the inception of the company. That role I have now passed on to our daughter, Cavell.
He quickly revolutionized in the pharmaceutical industry.
Dr. Christian is my mentor, is my friend, is my role model. Mr. Christian, being the innovator that he is, did things that persons thought was just not possible. Each morning, a customer representative would call the store to find out, what do you need today for delivery today? That was incredible.
He was intent on delivering the highest quality customer service.
I stayed focused with pharmaceuticals for 10 years before I diversified into anything else.
I joined Carimed approximately 18 years ago. And what a dynamic journey it has been and continues to be. I have literally witnessed a caterpillar morphed into a butterfly. The past 25 years in the life of Carimed has been phenomenal.
My name is Dennis Grant, General Manager of Carimed Limited. I have been the General Manager of Carimed for over 9 years. Despite the economic conditions, Mr. Christian would always focus on how we could grow as a company. Carimed has 2 divisions with over 400 staff. We currently represent over 40 different multinational companies. I have been with the company for over 25 years. Mr. Christian has prepared me and others for leadership. Anything he had in mind, even though he had the authority to make these decisions on his own, he would always bounce it off 4 or 5 of us and then he would make a decision moving forward. Long before we had a proper succession development program, he would call and ask us to participate in meetings with principals. As a company, we are proud to have Mr. Christian as our leader. He is a true visionary.
The company, under the leadership of our chairman, Mr. Glen Christian, has set an enviable track record in our industry.
In the industry, we have what is called mandatory continuing education for pharmacists. The Cari-Med continuing education seminar is one of the most sought after seminar every year. He would send buses to almost every corner of Jamaica, free of cost, to allow pharmacists to be able to come to this continuing education seminar.
He has a 3P philosophy: people, profit, and pleasure. He's very big on the people aspect of it.
Dr. Christian, being a people person, has taught me to deal with my customers respectfully, regardless.
I have said it before that people are more important than money.
We are now two companies. This is Kirk Distributors. Kirk is 8 years old. It is a formidable distributor of fast-moving consumer goods. We represent companies such as Colgate, Johnson & Johnson, and in recent times we have acquired our own brands, the Kendall brand.
I want to take this opportunity to say thanks to all my customers over these past 28 years. Without them, we could not have made it.
I find that he is a great leader. He inspires us, he engages us, and he's just a good man.
Mr. Christian is such a humble soul. It's amazing to see a man who has accomplished so much and yet remains so grounded. In the early 90s, when we had serious inflation in this country, at that time, many persons were just existing day to day. And surprisingly, Mr. Christian will come at intervals with these brown envelopes, which just lighten up everybody and really help to ease the pressure. We can't help but remember that human act.
I've been with the company for 24 years. And the reason I'm with this company so long, my boss is Mr. Christian, the CEO. He's a very professional, very endearing person. He has his own door policy that you can go in and talk to him. If there's a problem, he will sit with you and you do not even have to make an appointment with him.
He's an excellent coach and mentor. And once he recognizes that you have the ability, he will give you hands-on experience, what he terms side steering. He constantly reminds employees of the need for them to prepare. Because as he says, I cannot tell you when a door is going to be opened.
He doesn't just catch the fish, but he believes strongly in teaching everybody in the organization to catch a fish. Carimed culture is a lifestyle.
He's always encouraging us to further our education.
He provides training for his staff so they can continue to improve themselves.
I just know I love Mr. Christian. He's a very, very good boss.
Jamaica has been kind to me.
Every day he wakes up asking what more he can do for his country.
He is a servant, one who cares, a man with a compassionate heart.
We have learned so much from him, not just about work, but also about life. He cares about the people who are less fortunate and sees how we can bring about change in their lives.
I'm Yvonne Grant, and you're at the Open Arms Drop-In Center, and we're a center for homeless men. Now for the Christians, they have been with us from day one, and they have been a tower of strength. Mrs. Marva Christian is actually our board chair. When we actually got started, they were the ones who sent us a lot of the appliances that we really needed to get started, and they have stayed with us consistently throughout all this time.
It's more blessed to give than to receive. Whatever you sow, you will reap.
The Hope Institute has been the benefactor of the generosity of Mr. and Mrs. Christian and the relationship spans over 15 years. Their generosity includes the refurbishing of the chemotherapy area, which is now renamed Cari-Med Wing, sponsorship of 5 nurses in 2012 to a cancer symposium in Florida, and also the refurbishing of our treatment room.
Mr. Christian is a past student of the Brandon Hill Primary School, and hence we are happy to have Mr. Christian on board helping us.
The Brandon Hill Evening Institute is a program that is sponsored through the assistance and generosity of Mr. Christian and the Cari-Med Foundation. Many youth have realized their dreams and are moving on to further studies.
There are some projects. Early childhood education is one of them, which I have decided, boy, I'm going to be a missionary.
My interactions with Mr. Christian reveals that he is very passionate about early childhood education. He made himself available as a businessman, a successful businessman, to give back to his community. If you should look at this beautiful school here in this community of Brandon Hill, a rural community, you would be amazed to know what Mr. Christian has done. The school today, named Evelyn Mitchell Infant School, is named in honor of Mr. Christian's mother, who was known as Eva to many of us who grew up in Brandon Hill.
The fact that I was able to come up with the idea of merging 4 basic schools into 1 infant school, the Ministry of Education has adopted this model, and I'm so happy. I'm so happy about that, because we want to do something that creates impact and change the face of the community.
Some of the values that are instilled in our culture are social responsibility. It is a priority. Our chairman tells us every day, give back to your church, give back to your community. Help those who help you.
When I'm blessed the way I have been blessed to pass on blessings.
Core family values are paramount to Cari-Med's success. There are no barriers here. All employees are treated the same and with respect regardless of job title.
Family in this business, they don't get any preference. My wife is my rock. My children, grandchildren, eating together, traveling together. It's everything.
He's not only there for his immediate family, but he loves everybody. He has a passion to help everybody.
Sir Glen, the energy bunny, the effervescent man, full of passion, the real family man, has been a father figure for Malik and Zoe, and for me. As a family, he has motivated each of us to be the best that we can be.
Before I had started attending Women's Boys School, I sought out Uncle Glen in mentoring me. He's been a role model to me. He's taught me how to be responsible. He's taught me how to take care of family and to be a friend in times of trouble. I'm currently a sub-prefect at WOMAS, and I believe that Uncle Glen's leadership has been able to inspire me to be a better leader. I wish there were more men like him in Jamaica.
You feel it in your spirit, you feel it in your bones when you recognize that you can help and you can bring people up.
He has been a generous, a kind, a warm. He has been a good man, and he's so kind, sometimes words cannot explain.
My relationship with God that's the source of everything. As you know, reflect, you say, God was preparing me for greater things because it helped me to find my real purpose in life. Love God, love people, and love business. Don't love money.